here with the leaders that you have chosen. I think that Pennsylvania has done a phenomenal job in the leaders in your state. First of all, Tom Corbett, your governor. I did have the privilege of serving with him as Attorney General. He was a great Attorney General, a great prosecutor, and he's been a phenomenal governor. When you think about the reform that's happening in Pennsylvania, but also the reform that's happening with Republican governors across this nation, they are leading the way, and it shows what we can do in Washington. So, Tom, I know he's left, but you're so great. He's been such a great leader, and most of all, it's an honor to be here with my colleague, Pat Toomey, because Pat is a reformer. And when you sent us Pat Toomey to the United States Senate, you sent us a real leader for our country. Because I can tell you that in our caucus, and not just in our caucus, but on the Senate floor, when Pat Toomey speaks, people listen. And Pat's one of those individuals where we serve on the Senate Budget Committee together, and Harry Reid has said it's foolish for our country to pass a budget. You know what Pat Toomey did? He put together his own budget, a responsible budget for our country. And that got a vote on the Senate floor. I was proud to vote for it, and it shows you the kind of leadership that you have from your Senate. And talk about courage. Pat understands we can't continue the way we've been doing things in Washington. And that's been a problem with both parties. And when I think about courage and integrity and the type of leadership that we need in Washington, trust me, not just Pennsylvania, but your senators having an impact throughout this country. And again, a privilege to serve with you, Pat. It's so great to see you today. Last night was so inspiring for all of us. But I have to say and echo what Pat said. What was most inspiring for me was to hear Ann Romney. You know, we can all relate to the stories of what it's like to start out in a new marriage where you've got the kitchen table propped up with an ironing board, and you know, it's tough making ends meet, and they've worked for everything that they've gotten. And you know what? We are so proud at how successful Governor Romney has been and Ann have been throughout their lives. Why wouldn't we want two individuals, and Mitt Romney, someone who has been successful at everything that he has done in the life to lead our country? Think about it. Why has success been vilified by this president in this election? When you think about, we need someone who every time he has set out to accomplish, whether it was governor of Massachusetts, whether it was in the private sector, whether it was the Olympics, he has proven time and time and again, as Ann said last night, and this really resonated with me, that he will work harder than anyone else, that he will make sure that we do not fail, that he will do everything he can to make sure that our country succeeds. And that is the type of leadership that we need. And we heard from Ann last night. Of course we can trust him. One of the great things about being a senator in New Hampshire is you get to meet the candidates on the campaign trail. And I spent a lot of time on the bus with Mitt and Ann, traveling around in the primary early on when I got behind them. And I'll tell you, what a wonderful family. When you see them interacting with their children, you see people who have tremendous character, integrity, love. We heard about their marriage last night, but when you see them together and you spend time with them, you see and you know that when they are in the White House, we will be so proud of them, and we will be so proud to have them representing our country. And we saw it last night in Ann Romney's speech. I don't need to tell you what's at stake in this election. The reason I ran for office, I had been an appointed Attorney General. I had never run for office. My first run for office was the United States Senate, which is kind of crazy, by the way. But thank God I had a lot of great people in New Hampshire helping me. But the reason that I ran for office is My husband Joe and I, in 2009, when we saw, after this president was elected, President Obama, what was happening to our country with the debt, with the stimulus, all this massive spending, thinking that that could bring our economy out of the depths, watching our country in decline, thinking about pushing through a health care bill where Washington comes between us and our physicians and tells us what to do. We don't like that in the live free or die state, by the way.
Hey.
Yeah. All of those things, worrying about our children. I'm the mother of a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old, worrying about what kind of future that we're going to leave for them. And that's why I got off my couch to run for the United States Senate. I know that's why Pat's there. We are not worried about the next election. We are worried about the next generation. And that is why we're going to win this election. Because, as Governor Christie said last night, we have at the top of the ticket Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan, two individuals of character, of leadership, who most of all are not worried about the next election. What they're worried about is the next generation. What are we leaving in this country for our children, our grandchildren, and where our country be if we continue down the path of 4 more years with Barack Obama? And in your hands, you have the power to make this happen, to make sure that we can have Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan in the White House leading our country, addressing our debt, getting our economy moving, making sure this is still the best place in the world to start a business. Because can you imagine how we'll feel on November 7th if we wake up and we have 4 more years of Barack Obama? We can't, our country can't take that. And I know that everyone in this room is a mover and a shaker. You are here as a delegate from Pennsylvania and New Hampshire because you are the activists that go out, make the phone calls, go door to door, talk to your friends and neighbors, and you've got to make it happen in this election. I know that everyone in this room, Pat and I, will be doing everything we can. We couldn't be where we are without you, but also we will not have a President Romney and a Vice President Ryan if we don't give it our all. And so I know on November 7th, I don't want to wake up feeling like, what's happened? I want to wake up on November 7th with a big smile on my face. I want to look at our 2 children and know that the future is bright for them. And if we wake up on November 7th and we have President Romney and Vice President Ryan, I know, and I'll feel better as a mother, that they will have better opportunities than I have had in the greatest nation on earth. So I thank you all for being here today, but let's not leave anything behind, okay? Let's not leave anything behind, and we will make it happen. President Mitt Romney, Vice President Paul Ryan. Doesn't it sound good? Let's do it.